to the hottest wrestling podcast out there in the sports entertainment industry. And I'm just kidding. It does its job. Here, just your average wrestling fan who just loved to fill you guys in on some awesome, awesome information, and just, talk about shows, talk about superstars, talk about the past, like WCW to ECW. Obviously, I just want to have a good time. Thank you so much for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast hosted by the GSMC Sports Network. First and foremost, want to give a shout out to, obviously, everything that's going down in Los Angeles with the wildfires. Obviously, my thoughts, prayers for the first responders and everybody affected. Just have faith. We will rebuild. Obviously, hold your loved ones close. If you're in that evacuation area, make sure you seek shelter immediately. Do not chance it. Your lives are not worth it. Your family's lives are definitely not worth it. Seek a shelter. Obviously a little bit of more of a somber mood, and it's affected everywhere in California. Like, it's nuts. Like, I was on my way home, and traffic lights were out. The other day. I went out to the store around like 9:30, and everywhere your local grocery store was closed. Your local Dollar Tree, your local Walmart, Target, you name it, everywhere was black. Street lights are down. Like I said, stoplights are down, which is terrible. And it seems like, and I'm not trying to say like I'm the best driver out there, but I feel like when people, without traffic lights, and because it was black, it wasn't even flashing the red light to be like, oh, this is, it's a stop sign now. People, some people run it, some people do take it as a stop, but all in all, it just resorts into, devastation. Obviously, I saw a couple of car crashes as well on the way here. Police cars, fire trucks, everybody out there trying to make this, make it a little bit normal here around Southern California. But, it's super hard. It's crazy. I, for one, am, obviously, I don't live in the Los Angeles area, but I do live like around Southern California. So, I do have family, friends, and, coworkers who have families that have been affected by all the wildfires and stuff like that. So, obviously, this podcast is all about, of course, having fun, talking about professional wrestling. So, we'll try to do it, although, just save your prayers. Do your prayers, make sure you pray for LA. Well, like I said, we have a great show for you today on tap. We have our WWE Smackdown preview. We're going to talk about Ring of Honor and TNA, give you guys the results of what happened on Thursday. We're also going to talk about WWE's commentary team shakeup. Recently you saw Corey Graves on NXT New Year's Evil, and to be brutally honest, it didn't even, you barely heard him. I feel like, throughout the time, he probably spoke at maybe like 4 or 5 times during the whole event. So I'm not sure if he's going to be too happy there. It's been reported that WWE officials are super happy. They're super impressed with the announced team of Joe Tessitore and Wade Barrett, obviously on Monday Night Raw when they were on the USA Network. Now with Netflix, Pat McAfee is back, of course, with Michael Cole, his partner in crime. So, where does that leave Corey Graves? Most likely he goes back to NXT. And, I've read reports and saying that, it's a demotion and all that. But I don't really think it's a demotion. We'll get into that, obviously, when our third segment hits. Fourth segment, John Cena declared on the Monday Night Raw on Netflix that he's going to win the Royal Rumble. We're going to talk about that. In our fifth and final segment, Jeff Hardy, former WWE superstar, claims that if it wasn't for all the substance abuse, if it wasn't for, drugs and alcohol, his career would have been better than John Cena's. He said he could have been better than John Cena. Do we agree with it? I'm not too sure. For me, because nobody really could, match up with the intensity of John Cena, and Jeff Hardy was more of a high flyer, more of a different kind of caliber, especially when it comes to the World Heavyweights division back then during the Ruthless Aggression. Obviously, you had Batista, you had JBL, you had Kurt Angle, you had Eddie Guerrero, you also had, you had an aging, but he was still there, Undertaker, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Randy Orton, Edge. Jeff Hardy being, more than a couple of time, world time champion, I feel like I don't know. I feel like it wouldn't have made the company that more like prominent, I guess you can say, in terms of entertainment. But like I said, I could be wrong. It never happened. So all I could really say is we're going to dive into it once when we get there. But before we do any of that, I just want to remind you guys to go ahead and hit up that super chat, whether if you get a burning take or a hot or a hot comment talking about professional wrestling here at the GSMC Sports Network. We value all opinions and definitely want to make sure you guys feel like your voice is heard. So don't be shy and drop your thoughts inside that chat. And if you really want to make sure your comment, question, or concern gets noticed on air, why not use that super chat? Hit up that $sign. Basically guarantees anything you guys put inside that box is going to be featured on the show. It's also going to be talked about, maybe even debated about if it's that juicy. And make sure you guys hit it up. Obviously, it's a great way to support our channel here at the GSMC Sports Network. All these super chats helps us keep the lights on all these amazing podcasts with all these amazing podcasters who have one goal in mind, to make sure you guys consume the content that you guys love on a day-to-day basis. We are super grateful for each and every one of you guys who joins us here daily on the GSMC Sports Network. Your support makes all the difference. So let's keep the conversation going. Let's get this party started. Send in those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome, and together we will make sure this podcast is bigger, better, and stronger than ever. Once again, if the super chat not your thing, it's all good. Don't worry about it. Hit up the tips and donations link. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. Just remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show, follow the network here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity 1,010%. But of course, in terms of talking sports, it's inevitable there's going to be some disagreements. There's going to be a little bit of criticism. It's all good. It's already water under the bridge. It's all gravy. Just want to make sure you guys feel like you guys are a part of this awesome podcast. All right, so without further ado, let's get this party started. As soon as I could get there we go. All right, so we're going to talk about some WWE Smackdown. I was doing research for Smackdown, and I found I think there's only one announced match on the match card, and it's the WWE United States Championship match. Shinsuke Nakamura defending his title against the LA Knight. This is pretty huge. I've been reading reports stating that if the LA Knight does not get his championship back, what's going to make of his character? And honestly, I honestly don't know. I could imagine maybe perhaps a heel turn. Maybe perhaps he, bounces over to Monday Night Raw. Who knows? He definitely has the charisma. He definitely has that, main event attitude. Maybe perhaps he could be trying to fight for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, which is, it's a possibility. It is a possibility. And, I do like the LA Knight, but right now his character, he seems a little stale. The crowds, they love him though. They absolutely love him. He comes out, and I'm not even too sure if he's an actual like babyface, because he does do some like heelish things when he talks about his opponents. He does, he gives respects, of course, when they're due, but at the same time, he still can be like antagonistic. He still could be like a thorn in the side of, a lot of his competitors. So, it wouldn't surprise me to see if the LA Knight goes to being a heel. Maybe after his match with Shinsuke Nakamura, he decides to attack him, and then everybody's like, okay, what's going down? What's happening? Or maybe perhaps this match gets interrupted. I really honestly hope to God it does not. I don't want to see a pissed off Solo Sikoa because he lost that tribal combat match against Roman Reigns. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see Jacob Fatu, coming in the mix, and then maybe Solo Sikoa finds a way to kind of, immerse himself inside the WWE United States Championship division. So, we're gonna find out tonight. But my best bet, especially with WWE kind of heading into more of an international kind of aspect, I see Shinsuke Nakamura retain. And, I know, WWE Smackdown has already aired on the East Coast, but I, have not checked a single shred of social media. No TikTok, Facebook, or Instagram or anything like that. So I'm going in blind and definitely love it. Definitely have a recorder. Can't wait to watch it. And, but we also have, what's also going to happen on SmackDown, we have the tag team division that's going to be on. It's going to be fuego. It's going to be great. It's going to be great to watch. DIY, they've kind of assumed the role of the heels. And at first, I did not want to see it, but somebody kind of had to do it. The tag team division in terms of the heel, it was kind of getting a little predictable. It was always the same guys: Grayson Waller, Austin Theory, pretty deadly. Doing some pretty silly things. Legado del Fantasma. Something has had definitely to change. So tonight, I hope we get a good picture of what's going to happen with the WWE Tag Team titles, especially heading toward the Royal Rumble. I would absolutely love to see them being defended. And there's also some, tag teams that could definitely make their way onto SmackDown from probably like NXT. I've constantly, reiterated about it on this podcast, like the No Quarter Catch Crew, Miles Bourne, Tavion Heights coming in. Also, Axiom and Nathan Frazier would be amazing on SmackDown. And, with SmackDown being a 3-hour show now, you have a lot of time to kind of play around with different storylines and different talents, trying to see how the crowd reacts to new faces being inside the ring or even cutting promos backstage. Like last week on WWE Smackdown, you saw Pretty Deadly and Legado del Fantasma getting more time than they've had like within the past couple of months. So definitely, I think that's super awesome. I definitely think that's going to be the first step in the right direction. Also, we have the Street Profits. What's going to happen with the Street Profits? I feel like them only being having a one reign tag team championship on the main roster. I don't think it's good enough. I love Dawkins. I love Montez. These guys are special, especially Montez, and I wouldn't, would never ever even think about breaking them up. But Montez Ford, man, this guy has main event written all over him. This guy could definitely be a future WWE champion. I would, matter of fact, I would, definitely prefer it. I definitely love the way that they hold themselves up inside the ring. Pretty Deadly could also be. They could be a sneaky good tag team as well. They could definitely be those like that Edge and Christian kind of feel where, they're going to cheat to win, but, it is what it is. But that's kind of why I feel like DIY kind of got that heel turn, because I feel like people were like, okay, so on the heels we have Pretty Deadly, Legado del Fantasma, Grayson Waller, Austin Theory. I think it's pretty soon you're going to see a split between Theory and Grayson Waller. Does that start today? Not too sure. Are we going to find out who attacked Jade Cargill? Rumors are flying that it could be Bianca because she's jealous because she's not the EST around Jade Cargill. Cargill is better than Bianca Belair, yada, yada, yada. It could be, Naomi. Naomi jealous, perhaps feeling that she could be, a WWE Women's World Tag Team Champion. Obviously, she was with Sasha Banks before they left the company, obviously vacating those titles. So she technically never lost it. And Naomi needs a new direction. She absolutely needs a character change. This would be absolutely brutal, and I would be totally for it. Tiffany Stratton, she comes to WWE Smackdown, the new WWE Women's Champion, of course, successfully cashing in last week on Nia Jax. We're gonna get a little bit of a lashback and find out how Nia Jax feels about it. And, who's going to challenge Tiffany Stratton? Obviously, Nia Jax, she does have a rematch clause. So we will probably be seeing those two go at it at the Royal Rumble, where Tiffany Stratton could definitely beat her and cement her legacy as a new champion. And, just kind of get this Tiffany Stratton train rolling. So, definitely can't wait to see that. What's going to happen with Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa? Roman Reigns, winning the Ula Fallah. Solo Sikoa at this point as the leader of the new young bloodline. He looks a little weak. He's getting back. Back into his losing ways. He did cleanly pin Roman Reigns at Bad Blood, but it was. I feel like he's kind of hit into that slump again where he just keeps losing. He just keeps losing, and I don't honestly see it getting better unless we have ourselves a different storyline. What's going to happen with Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens? They're building up momentum for their ladder match for the WWE Undisputed Championship and that Winged Eagle belt at the Royal Rumble February 1st. So, we could definitely be getting a little bit of information there. Make sure you guys check out WWE Smackdown tonight. live on the USA Network. So, yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and move on to our second segment. We got Ring of Honor. We got TNA Impact results to talk about. So grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage. Join me here in about 25 seconds. So, hey, do not go anywhere.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown. Get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. Some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
And we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your favorite wrestling fan here, Eric Rodriguez, every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, here on the GSMC Sports Network to talk about the greatest thing in the world, professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring, backstage curtain calls, rumors, dramas. We talk about inactive statuses, injury updates. We talk about, superstar contract negotiations, extensions, and new signings from promotions like WWE to AEW, to New Japan Professional Wrestling, to the NWA, to Game Changing Wrestling, to Deathlock Professional Wrestling. It does not matter. We make, if it makes major news in the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on this show 1,010%. So make sure you guys smash that like and subscribe button. All right, just kind of reflect on what we talked about right quick. We had our WWE Smackdown preview, a little bit of a rundown. Kind of, like I said, I'm not checked on it. Obviously, I know it's already aired on the East Coast. Have not checked a single shred of social media, no TikTok, Facebook, or, Instagram for any content or updates. So, going in blind, which is definitely how I like watching my wrestling. There's sometimes where I'll, delete the Instagram app. I feel like Instagram's the only thing that really, I kind of invest time into, because they have reels that are just funny as hell, that gets you stuck, like straight up stuck. Like I'll be like on the couch, once when the kids are asleep, once when, the work is done, sitting on my arse and just, looking at a funny video, laughing. Look at the clock, it's like 10:30, look down on my phone, look back at the clock, it's already 12. And I'm like, holy crap, like, social media, man, keeps you hooked. Definitely, it's very entertaining, very, very entertaining, but at the same time could be bad. Could be bad. So make sure you guys, I'm not addicted to it. Definitely not. Definitely not. It's just like seeing funny stuff on TV. You know what I mean? What's wrong with that? I got a chat from my man Nick and Johnny podcast, just saying hi. Hey, what's up, my man? Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a fantastic week. Hope you're gonna have a fantastic weekend. Nick and Johnny podcast. Well, you guys run a podcast? Definitely, drop in the chat your link to the podcast. I'll definitely love to, check it out. If it's something to do with professional wrestling, maybe we can, reconvene together or something. I don't know. Definitely love, talking about sports. Essentially WWE. I'd love ECW, WCW, all that old stuff as well. New Japan Professional Wrestling. I'm just a huge wrestling dork here. But your favorite wrestling fan, remember, I'm your favorite wrestling fan. All right, without further ado, let's talk about some Ring of Honor and TNA Impact. But before we do any of that, just want to remind you guys to go ahead and hit up that super chat right there. Whether if you got a burning question or hot take in terms of the world of professional wrestling, or just something you've been dying to get off your chest. Here at the GSMC Sports Network, it's all about keeping the conversation lively, making sure you guys feel like your voice is part of the mix, and also make sure you guys hit up that super chat, hit up that $, which guarantees anything you guys put inside that little chat box right there is going to be featured, talked about, if it's that juicy, maybe even debated about on the show 1,010%. So don't be shy, drop your thoughts inside that chat. And, also it's a great way to support the channel, guys. Definitely 1,010%. As podcasters, we have one goal in mind, to make sure you guys consume all the content that you guys love so damn much on a day-to-day basis. And, obviously seeing some audiences, knowing that you guys are having fun, interacting in the show. I feel like I'm having fun doing the show, other than just me yelling at the mic for, about an hour, Mike. So I definitely don't want to do that. So, but, I do love talking, sometimes too much. We are super grateful for each and every one of you guys who joins us here daily on the GSMC Sports Network. Your support makes all the difference. So let's keep the conversation going. Send in those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome, and together we will make sure this podcast is bigger, better, and stronger than ever. Once again, if the super chat not your thing, go ahead and hit up that tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. Just remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show, follow the network here, the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity, 1,010%. But of course, in terms of talking sports, it's inevitable. There's going to be some disagreements. There's going to be some criticisms, and it's already water under the bridge. It's all good. It's all gravy, baby. Just want to make sure you guys feel like you are, having fun. Nick and Johnny podcast. Have a good night, man. Stay well, be well, and God bless. All right, so let's go to move on to our next segment here. We got Ring of Honor. We got TNA Impact results. So let's start with Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor, still building up momentum. We have, AEW Carnage happening on Dynamite this Wednesday. So, definitely think it's going to be great. So let's jump on into it. Trish Adora with the Shane Taylor Promotions defeats Harley Cameron. And, I like Harley Cameron. I feel like she does offer a lot of good content. I like the fact that she's definitely like that. She has that badass, don't mess with me kind of mentality. She's a girl you kind of want to root for, but at the same time, she's a girl you kind of want to hate. Kind of like a female version of like Randy Orton on Ring of Honor in the women's division. I would honestly love to see her kind of be more a part of, maybe perhaps she can find a way to challenge, Red Velvet for that Ring of Honor Women's Television Champion. I feel like that would be a good booking. That'd be an amazing booking. Blake Christian defeats Serpentico. Boulder of Iron Savages defeats Griff Garrison, which is that was a good match. I watched highlights of that match. Griff Garrison, young as he is, talented. I definitely like the Boulder from Iron Savage, especially the name Boulder. Like, hey, what happened? Boulder happened. Boulder, rolled the hell and steamrolled me and won the match. Got that 1, 2, 3. So, definitely 1,010%. Got to also chat from my man Nick and Johnny podcast on YouTube. We're definitely on YouTube. Make sure you check out the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast. And, just know that we're here live Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Of course, on the West Coast. On the East Coast, it is what it is. I think it's 5. No, damn it. 11 to 12. Damn, that's kind of late. You guys are, if you live on the East Coast and you're watching this show, God bless. Thank you so much for, sticking with me. If you guys are just laying in bed, being like, man, when is this guy going to shut up and stop talking or start talking about the good stuff? Definitely appreciate you guys 1,010% watching this show. Also, subscribing to the GSMC Sports Network. You guys are truly amazing. Truly, truly amazing. So Billy Starks gets back onto the win track, defeating Brittany Jade. Billy Starks losing against Athena, I honestly thought this was a great way for, for Athena to, kind of give up her title to a worthy competitor. Obviously, Billie Starkz is a former Women's World Television Champion, so you know that she can hold the title. You know that she can hold the attention when she's inside the ring. She does produce some quality matches. Her on the mic, maybe the fact that, I don't think she's that bad. I've read reports and I've heard, criticisms, obviously, Twitter twirls, who, say that the reason why she has not won a championship or has won the big one was because, she just doesn't have that mic. She just doesn't have that mic skills. That's why a lot of people probably doubt the fact that Ricochet is going to be successful as like that main big heel, because he just doesn't have those mic skills. They're really skeptical about it. I personally think she's going to be great. I definitely think she's going to be great. Okay, Nick and Johnny podcast, saying, please on YouTube. If you guys have a podcast on YouTube, definitely check it out. I'll definitely check it out as soon as I, get, off this live, stream. So, I'm a huge fan of podcasts. It's crazy how the podcasting industry literally seemed like it kind of sprung up overnight. A lot of people who were podcasting about 10 years ago, it was just, they kind of were like trailblazers. And now, I'm a huge fan of this show. It's called Pardon My Take. I'm a huge fan of them, and they kind of started the podcast. They have so many followers. They produce great content. All the guys on the show are pretty super badass. So definitely hosting a podcast is it's new. It's awesome. It's innovative. It's also cutting edge. I love it because nowadays, literally, you can start a podcast. If you have a passion, let's just say, making Lego houses or, fixing cars or cooking or pop culture, anybody could literally, post, do a podcast. And, definitely, I think that's cool. I think that's super damn cool. So, definitely love it when people, reach out to their full potential because, we as humans, we're going to, we got it. We have Queen Aminata defeating Rachel Ellinger. Both of these women, two amazing stars inside the women's division. Ellinger recently seeming like she's kind of been on, she's kind of been on a downfall, and but that's my opinion. Obviously, Queen Aminata literally was a beat away from becoming the new Ring of Honor World Women's Heavyweight Champion. I would love to see her back into the ring on that main event card. MXM Collection defeats the Dawsons. Ring of Honor Women's World Television Champion Red Velvet defeats Jasmine Howe in a proving ground match. Shane Taylor Promotions, the team of Lee Majority and Shane Taylor defeats Gates of Agony. Which is kind of a shock because Gates of Agony. I love Brian Cage. He's super awesome. All right, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into some TNA Impact, and we are running short on this segment, so let's go ahead and get into the teeth of Impact Wrestling. So, the TNA started out. We had Steve Macklin teaming up with Eric Young and Jonathan Gresham, who defeated the System, Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers, and JDC. It seems like ever since Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers lost those, TNA World Tag Team Championships, it seems like they're just not the same. They're just not the same. JDC recently joining into the System, a couple months. I feel like without Moose, they don't really seem like they really, have a pop. So, you can definitely 1,010% probably see a breakup probably within the next couple of months. And, it's to the point where I feel like it's perfect. Unless the System find a way to kind of maybe debut on WWE NXT, I feel like that could definitely be a good booking for the future. But as of late, NXT stars have not been on TNA. And, of course, you have not seen TNA Impact stars on NXT. So, is that little mashup, is that little, Easter egg or that little cross-promotional brand, is it over? I hope not. I really honestly hope not because I thought it was pretty badass. Lei Ying Lee defeats Savannah Evans. Obviously, Jordan Grace comes out, wants to challenge, Tessa Blanchard to a fight. We had, Rosemary kind of haunting, Masha Slamovich. Should be an interesting match at Genesis. Mike Santana defeats Judas Icarus with Travis Williams. Mike Santana defeats Travis Williams with Judas Icarus. And, of course, Josh Alexander makes his way to the ring for the final stage of the gauntlet. Icarus attacks Santana from behind, causing the disqualification. Mike Santana defeats Josh Alexander with the Northern Armory, Judas Icarus, and Travis Williams by disqualification. So, definitely, after the bell, rang, we saw the Northern Armory deliver a 3-on-1 assault on Mike Santana. Did not look good, and it seems like Mike Santana's kind of might be on his own little bridge there, but I don't know, it's kind of crazy. So we have the Rascals, Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz defeats the Good Hands. Frankie Kazarian confronts Rhino and says that he'll be ready to call his shot on the TNA World Champion Nick Nemeth if Rhino takes him out with a gore tonight. So, X Division Champion Moose against Andrew Everett for the X Division Championship. Hold on one second. Ace Austin is seen watching from backstage. Everett uses his quickness, obviously. Moose picks up the victory to kind of keep that big heel, that David versus Goliath kind of story that you're going to see at Genesis, and I feel like that's super badass, super cool. TNA definitely heating up. I can't wait to see that. Definitely can't wait to see that match. Joe Hendry and Rhino defeat the TNA World Champion Nick Nemeth and Ryan Nemeth. Obviously, the Nemeth brothers. Ryan is Ryan. Ryan is Ryan. He's not like that in-your-face kind of cocky mentality, that attitude. He's that friend that you take to a bar and he mouths off to somebody, and you have to kind of watch his back, which sucks because he generally, those kind of people don't really know how to fight. TNA Impact, awesome. Make sure you check out those highlights on YouTube. All right, without further ado, let's jump on into our third segment. We're going to talk about the WWE commentary team shakeup recently on Raw, on SmackDown, and on NXT. So grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage. You join me here in about 25 seconds. So hey, do not go anywhere.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right, we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your favorite wrestling fan here, Eric Rodriguez, every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time, here to talk to you guys about the greatest thing in the world, professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring, backstage curtain calls, rumors. We talk about all the drama. We talk about inactive statuses, injury updates. We talk about contract negotiations amongst superstars. We talk about new signings. We talk about basically anything from WWE to AEW. If it makes major news in the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on this show 1,010%. So make sure you guys smash that like and subscribe button to our network to get all these amazing podcasts with these awesome notifications to let you know when we produce more content. All right, so without further ado, we're definitely running pretty short on time. Like I said, definitely apologize. On the way home, it was not kind to me. Plenty of traffic lights are out, and due to all the wildfires in Los Angeles, there's about 5 as of today, as of this morning, when I read it, it was about 5. But I heard there was another one. But obviously, thoughts, prayers, and condolences are for Los Angeles first responders, and of course those who were affected. There's over 40,000 acres burned, 200,000 residents are evacuated. It's pretty damn nuts. So pray for LA, definitely 1,010%. So yeah. All right, without further ado, let's talk about WWE commentary team shakeup. According to reports, WWE officials are insanely impressed with the announced team of Joe Tessitore and Wade Barrett. Obviously, they held down the fort. Once when Michael Cole went to SmackDown, obviously once when Fox was on SmackDown. No, SmackDown was on Fox. Fox was on SmackDown. That would be kind of crazy. Obviously the team of Joe Tessitore and Wade Barrett, they were good. They've been good. They have the talent. I saw Joe, and I got to be honest, I was a little like, okay, let's see how well this guy could possibly, see how he's going to do. I did have some skepticism, and because I think he does college ball too, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. I could be tripping. But, he's one hell of an announcer. He could definitely do it from every angle possible. Wade Barrett, obviously, a former WWE superstar. He kind of knows, he's that heel, you know what I mean? He's that, that Jerry the King Lawler to Jim Ross, or that Taz to Michael Cole, or that Jesse Ventura to Vince McMahon. He's that antagonistic person that's going to, there's obviously they back up the heels and they make the, the baby faces look a little silly. But overall, it's going to be pretty cool to kind of ultimately see them run WWE Smackdown. And, I think it's going to start pretty soon. I wouldn't be surprised if they started tonight. Like I said, I've not checked a single shred of social media. I've not checked anything on SmackDown. They could have started tonight. I'm not too sure how that would have went because on WWE NXT New Year's Eve, you saw the announced team of Booker T, Vic Joseph, and Corey Graves. So that started. Maybe perhaps they did start today, and honestly, that kind of makes me more excited to check out SmackDown. But on NXT with Vic Joseph and Booker T, I gotta be honest, these two they have good chemistry together. Booker T is like that in-your-face commentary who's not afraid to say rational things, and Vic Joseph, of course, has to set him straight. Sometimes they agree, sometimes they banter, sometimes they fight, sometimes and that's classic WWE. But you saw on WWE NXT New Year's Eve, I'm not too sure if anybody watched it. You saw Corey Graves there, and fans were excited. When I first saw Corey Graves there, I was like, all right, this could be good because I'm not a huge Corey Graves I'm not a huge Corey Graves fan, but he announces, he's pretty good. He's definitely, he's like the right-hand man kind of thing. But, it just, on NXT, it seemed like he would really wanted to be there. There's been reports circulating around the wrestling industry saying that, Corey Graves going back to NXT is kind of a demotion, and I don't really believe that. Right now on NXT, they're their own business, they're their own entity. They're not really seen, or at least in my opinion, they're not really seen as the little brother of SmackDown or Raw, where you would have the draft and all these people are excited to put on their Monday Night Raw hats, so excited to put on their SmackDown hats. Obviously, when you saw Blair Davenport being drafted, you saw Dijak, who was drafted to Monday Night Raw and then ultimately released, which is kind of weird. Lyra Valkyria making it on to Raw. Obviously, Carmelo Hayes coming out, still using that, I'm the number one draft pick, WWE's number one draft, to kind of keep that alive. Maybe they'll kind of still have that power distance between NXT, Raw, and SmackDown. But I like NXT. The women's division on NXT runs the show. It simply runs it. You have more women's matches on WWE NXT than sometimes on Raw and SmackDown combined. And, definitely Dynamite Collision. And no, I feel like Collision and Rampage, I feel like they do show the women more of a little bit of love, give them more attention. But I don't know. I'm a huge fan of the NXT announce team. I feel like adding Corey Graves, ultimately, I feel like it kind of cripples it. And like I said, I'm not a huge Corey Graves kind of guy. But I like Vic. I like Vic and I like Booker T. They just play off each other so damn well. You even heard, I think it was during the Julia and Roxanne Perez match. I think it was. Or I could be tripping, where you had Booker T literally had to call Corey Graves out by name to be like, what do you think about that, Corey? What do you think about that? And Corey was he said a couple of words and then bam, that was it. So do I think Corey Graves is happy on NXT? I don't. Honestly, I don't. You literally went from being on Fox with Michael Cole, his right-hand man, and Pat McAfee is back. Pat McAfee is back. He's going to be back full-time after the end of the football season. And, Michael and Pat are great. They're great. 1,010%. I love it. I do love it. PW Insider Dave Meltzer says Corey Graves is indeed off the WWE main roster, and on Wrestling Observer Radio, Graves is appearing on NXT. Was not a one-time deal, so we're probably going to see him. We're going to see him, make his way back to NXT. And I don't think it should be viewed as a demotion whatsoever. And, from the main roster, he's going to be missed. He's that voice. He has that, he has that attitude. He has that it factor. Corey Graves, he put, like look at him in the picture, like with the leather jacket and a silk, smooth, button-up T-shirt with a necklace with tattoos on his neck. He looks cool. He looks badass, man. Obviously, but I feel like him and Michael Cole, as opposed to Pat McAfee and Michael Cole, it's not really Netflix material. And I'm not trying to say that to be a jerk. Be like, oh, okay, Eric, you're. And I don't hate Corey. I don't hate Corey Graves. I don't hate Corey Graves. I'm just not the biggest fan of him. And is that swaying my opinion? No. Am I trying to stay an objective wrestling journalist? Of course, absolutely, 1,010%. But Corey Graves is damn right. I'm just kidding. No. He's cool. He really is cool. He's great. I loved Corey Graves as when he was wrestling. Obviously, due to concussions and stuff like that, he had to call his wrestling career. He had to call it over, which sucks. Obviously, that's not easy. Corey Graves obviously still looks in pretty damn good shape that he could be wrestling inside the ring still. But it's just it just sucks. It's just it's kind of crazy. It is kind of crazy, but ultimately it should be, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Him on NXT is all right, but, one of the huge reasons why Corey Graves is a huge, who I don't really, the reason why Corey Graves is not my cup of tea is, you see that man sitting in the middle, you have Mauro Ronaldo coming from, UFC. When he was on NXT, it was super freaking badass. It was awesome. He made every match into like a WrestleMania main event. And it was kind of crazy. He basically Twitter trolled Mauro Ronaldo, at an NXT Takeover War Games in 2019, where he tweeted shots, during the commentary, and obviously Mauro Ronaldo, his past was hard, his hectic schedule, and of course him turning 50, and spending a significant amount of money on mental health treatment. And he even had, he said this, and I quote, "Social media is so dangerous, and for those of us with mental health conditions." And, so do you want to call, Corey Graves a cyberbully and stuff like that? Maybe. I'm just kidding, no. I just don't, obviously when you're fighting for a position in, that you want for a job, maybe Corey Graves did let, some animosity or maybe potential jealousy, or maybe perhaps he wanted to get into that announcing position. Perhaps he could have, so then at that point, if you, hop on Twitter and join all the Twitter trolls, you can definitely, I don't know. I loved Mauro. I thought he was definitely one of the best WWE announcers that they've had, since, Jim Ross. He had that Jim Ross kind of feel. And Corey Graves had this to say in defense. He said, "What's up, everybody?" Right after that, that sending out the tweet already seems kind of stupid. I'm just kidding. He said it was an unpopular, position, and that he wasn't, that he was just basically saying it to be like, it was part of the show. It was part of the show. It was, he never meant to disrespect or disparage anybody. But that once again, that just kind of, shows the seriousness of anxiety and depression. Of course, if you are heavily immersed in social media, you are constantly, reading stuff, you're rechecking your feed, you're refreshing the screen, and it's just like it is an addiction. We talked about it earlier today that on this podcast that sometimes you're scrolling on Instagram and you're just consuming all this content. Instagram's algorithms are learning your likes, and they're going to show you a lot of bit of your likes. But guess what? All the stuff that you spent looking at the screen because you're insecure, so you're watching this video, or there's something that scares you that you want to watch, or something that you want to find out more information about that isn't necessarily produced inside of a positive aspect. Those kind of algorithms are saved to your Instagram as well, and they keep popping up at you. Yeah, we want to make sure you guys are entertained, definitely 1,010%. We want to make sure that you guys are consuming the content that you guys love so damn much. That, 100%. But also, we want to exploit some of your insecurities, so you kind of stayed hooked on this thing that's called, social media. So, Mauro Ranallo, definitely one of the best WWE announcers. And, he even said, the whole thing between Corey Graves is kind of like a blessing in disguise. He wanted to thank Corey, would be like, okay, that's the reason why I'm stepping off of Twitter, guys. I'm stepping off of Twitter. I'm stepping off of social media, taking a step away. And, like I said, I definitely miss him. I feel like he would definitely be a pivotal factor on WWE today. I think last time I heard his voice, I think he did do I think he was part of the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight. I'm not too sure. On Netflix, so hopefully that connection between, him being on Netflix announcing, maybe WWE brings him back. So, definitely love to see that. Obviously, the commentary team shakeup on WWE is, super badass, super cool. I just hope that, I hope that NXT stays as great as it is, especially in terms of commentary. All right, so without further ado, let's jump on into our fourth segment. John Cena declares a victory at the Royal Rumble. Obviously, he popped up to announce his retirement tour on WWE Monday Night Raw on Netflix. So we're going to talk about John Cena potentially winning the Royal Rumble. So grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage, and join me here in about 20 seconds. So hey, do not go anywhere.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
And we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your favorite wrestling fan here, Eric Rodriguez, every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, here on the GSMC Sports Network, to talk about the greatest thing in the world, professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring, backstage curtain calls, rumors, drama, and updates. We talk about contract negotiations, extensions, and new signings. We talk about promotions from WWE to AEW to New Japan Professional Wrestling. If it makes major news in the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on this show, 1,010%. So go ahead and Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the network, so you guys can get some notifications whenever we produce more content that you guys love so dang much. All right, without further ado, let's talk about John Cena declaring victory on Monday Night Raw, talking about the Royal Rumble. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about it. John Cena coming back to WWE, it left a lot of questions. It left a lot of questions like, is WWE really going to let this guy, WWE royalty, by the way. WWE royalty. Are they going to let John Cena just, come onto the main screen, come onto the Royal Rumble and eliminate all these young, talented wrestlers that deserve a chance to ultimately take a step in the right direction in terms of their career, help produce WWE for the future, kind of consolidate, or no, that's not the right word. Kind of produce young talent, setting WWE up, setting them up for the future, building stars from the ground up, allowing somebody to steal the spotlight as opposed to John Cena, who's had the spotlight. John Cena's been in the spotlight, arguably, ever since he had the first WWE Championship reign. John Cena has been literally the poster boy of the WWE, and he did it with respect, he did it with hustle, and he did it with loyalty. Hustle, loyalty, and respect. No, I'm just kidding. Nice little plug there. But you think about John Cena. First and foremost, let's backtrack. Let's rewind time here. WWE or WWF, however you guys want to remember WWE back in the day, with the whole steroid scandal and stuff like that, and Vince McMahon too, inside the negative public eye, which he still is, obviously. I'm not, trying to get into that or whatsoever, I'm not talking about, allegations or trying to do anything like defamation or anything like that. So let's, John Cena has literally represented the WWE with absolute zero negative public relation surrounding WWE. He was literally the poster boy of WWE, didn't do anything wrong, represented the company. Kids absolutely adored, idolized. John Cena was the role model. John Cena was the role model of kids all around the world. Definitely in the United States. You go to, my mother, she worked for elementary school. And one day I went over there to, volunteer. I was in high school, so many kids wearing a shirt, but one shirt only, John Cena. So those kids grow up. They buy tickets. They get jobs. They buy tickets. They buy merchandise. They go to the WWE events. And pretty soon, they're going to grow up, have kids of their own. Pretty soon, they will be WWE fans as well. So this guy literally set WWE up for decades, maybe even centuries, just with his presence, just with the way he was able to connect to the fans, just by the way he produced himself inside the ring. He produced some of the greatest wrestling matches I've ever seen. One that comes to mind, obviously, a couple years ago when he fought AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble. Definitely one of the best matches I have ever seen in my life. John Cena, biggest babyface in the world. You love to love him, love to hate him. But there's something that makes John Cena kind of stick out more than any entertainer, any sports athlete. This guy is literally down to earth. He's just a good guy. The Make-A-Wish Foundation, this guy has, fulfilled wishes more than any other sports athlete. I think he's up around 660 something. And probably still growing. This guy acts too. He's in movies. He's funny. He can be an action star. He could be basically anything under the sun that a director would be like, hey, John, I need you to do this. He'll do it. He donates. Donates to charities all around the world. He shows up at birthday parties. This guy says that, he follows his fans back on Twitter, on Instagram, on social media. Come on. If you're a star, if you're a wrestler, if you're a sports star, do you really invest time in literally clicking that, follow back button? No, you don't do it. But John Cena does. John Cena is literally the role model of how every, not just wrestler, how every sports athlete should be in terms of connecting to their fans, as opposed to, not, like I said, not trying to throw shade, but, let's just call it what it is. Think about some examples here. Kevin Durant, NBA star. Everybody loves Kevin Durant. He has a lot of fans. He has a lot of, he has a lot of revenue surrounding his brand. And for him to go on TV, I'm representing my brand. I'm not going to let anybody talk mess about me on social media. Sometimes, Kevin Durant, to his fans, sometimes he's not the great, sometimes he's not the best guy. And that's nothing against Kevin Durant. There's a lot of sports athletes who literally cash checks, look in the mirror, they're like, all right, how could I change the world today? They look in that mirror and they're like, oh, it's got to make sure you're doing well. John Cena doesn't do that. He doesn't look through a mirror. He looks through a window. A window on the tallest skyscraper on earth, sees the world, and is like, how could I be a better person? How could I affect lives positive with the platform that I have? Professional wrestling, which is really, there's a niche, an audience around it. WWE allowing this guy to win his third Royal Rumble, and it hasn't been done. Has not been done since Stone Cold Steve Austin, who won it 1997, 1998, and in 2001. So it's been some time. 24 years to be exact. We've had back-to-back winners. Hulk Hogan, 1990, 1991. The Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, 1995, 1996. We've had Cody Rhodes, 2023 to 2024. He's not a back-to-back winner. He's literally the best option for WWE to win the Royal Rumble. And I get he's going to cripple young, talented superstars. The young, talented superstars were coming from NXT. NXT right now on the CW, they need to keep ratings too. The CW is a cable network. The CW, if you're not getting, ratings, they're going to take you off the air. The NWA, they were doing decent. They were, broadcasting on the CW app. One of the wrestlers thought it would be a great idea to go inside the crowd and do, a bump of controlled substance, thinking that it was, showed how raw the National Wrestling Alliance is, CW thought about it, pulled their contract out, and they're like, no way, no thank you, we're moving on. Sign WWE NXT. Let's bring in those superstars in here. John Cena literally, you think about you think about all the options. Like CM Punk. I would love to see CM Punk win his first ever Royal Rumble, and by all means, I feel like it's going to happen. But between him and his bout with Seth Rollins right now, maybe Seth Rollins somehow, some way screws over CM Punk. Setting a match up, okay, you ruined my chances the main event WrestleMania. And then Seth Rollins looks him dead in the face. He's like, you know what, pal? You want a match at WrestleMania? You got it. And then they have a match, and then bam, there that goes. John Cena winning the Royal Rumble, it's not crazy. It's not crazy. I feel like it could definitely happen. Will he challenge Cody Rhodes? I feel like Cody Rhodes would probably be the best opponent for him at this point, because I'm not too sure what's going on with the whole Gunther thing, and they're planning for Goldberg's last match at WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas. I hope to God that's not a championship match. I hope to God that's not a wrestling match. But this never say never mentality isn't just a persona he keeps up inside the ring. It's not just a catchphrase like rest in peace, or you want to play, pal. Or not like, what is it? Austin 360. I'm just kidding. No. Literally never say never is something that he wants his fans to feel as well. I feel like John Cena feels like he's not successful unless he knows that his fans literally, they go out there and they say never say never. No, and it could come from, a little kid in elementary school, for the first time picking up a basketball, playing with some kids he's never met, and be like, oh, I want to make friends. Nah, they won't take me. No, and then the insecurity sets in. It's like, you know what? John Cena says never. I'm going to try to play basketball with these guys, and ends up, he finds out that he's a basketball star. Finds out that he has a huge niche for it. He finds passion doing this, and he finds a lot of friends doing it. You know, it can happen. John Cena has definitely been he's been a monumental sports figure in the world in the decade of sports entertainment. This guy literally should win a Nobel Peace Prize. I'm just kidding, no. Imagine if that's the way that worked. That's, that would be pretty crazy. But why not give this guy that 17 championship reign? Do you really want to look back and be like, oh, okay, Ric Flair and Triple H, 16-time world champions. But you know who has that number 17? John Cena. Can you really say anything bad about John Cena besides the fact that he was so damn good? Oh, WWE gave him absolutely anything. Okay. Let's think about the roster when WWE had John Cena during his hype. You know, we have Edge, we have Randy Orton, we have JBL, we had an aging The Undertaker, we had an aging Shawn Michaels, we had occasionally Mark Henry doing some damage, we had Rey Mysterio, Batista. You know, if you literally, based on name, image, and likeness, and the fact that who could perform the best inside the ring, isn't that what the American dream is really all about? You do the best at the job, guess what? You're getting that promotion. You do the best, you get noticed, and guess what? You're going to be taken care of. Nobody deserves to be on the top of the Gestapo of WWE more than John Cena. And that's just it. And I honestly think it'd be great. He wins that WrestleMania, wins that 17 World Championship reign, vacates the title, bam, starts fresh. WWE, in my opinion, with this whole Cody Rhodes, setup, they literally gave him 2 years to finish his story, back-to-back Rumble wins. It's going to be hard to be like, okay, Cody Rhodes is going to lose to this person, bam, something. Fans are going to be a little bit like, they're going to be skeptical. That's how wrestling fans are. That's how I would be. That's how I'd be if Cody Rhodes lost the championship. I'd be like, really? So WWE gave us 2 years of this guy only to have him drop the belt against this person. You know what I mean? Like, there has to be a perfect narrative. And nothing seems more perfect than John Cena winning. Or maybe even perhaps John Cena loses. He main events WrestleMania. Or maybe he fights for that World Heavyweight Championship. There's so many different storylines that you could derive from John Cena basically being all he can be at WrestleMania. And I feel like all in all, it's going to be perfect. All in all, I feel like WWE, especially under Triple H Paul Levesque era, this could be special. This could definitely be something special. All right, guys, our fifth and final segment. We're going to hop into it. Jeff Hardy states, per reports, that he said that he could have been better than John Cena, of course, without all this substance abuse, drugs, and alcohol. So we're going to talk about his comments when we come back. So grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice-cold beverage, and join me here in about 25 seconds. So, hey, do not go absolutely anywhere. We are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your favorite wrestling fan here, Eric Rodriguez, every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time, here to talk about the greatest thing in the world, professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring, backstage curtain calls, rumors, drama. We talk about inactive statuses, injury updates. We talk about contract negotiations, extensions, and new signings. We talk about promotions from AEW to WWE to New Japan Professional Wrestling, Ring of Honor, TNA. If it makes major news in the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on this show, 1,010%. So go ahead and Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show so you can follow the show show, follow the network, and get some notifications whenever we go live or produce new awesome content. All right, so just going to reflect on what we talked about right quick. We had our WWE Smackdown rundown, talk, preview, however you want to call it. Then we talked about some Ring of Honor and TNA Impact, the episode that aired January 9th of 2025. And then we talked about, in our third segment, the WWE announced team shakeup. That's happening. Fourth segment, we talked about John Cena winning the Royal Rumble and how I believe he deserves it. And in our fifth and final segment, we're going to talk about Jeff Hardy, talking about John Cena. We're not really talking about John Cena, more or less talking about himself, being like, man, dude, if I didn't do this and that and the other, if I didn't F around and found out, maybe I could have been the best WWE champion of all time. And I'm not saying it's not possible. Not saying it's not possible, but WWE went into a direction, especially with the Ruthless Aggression era, that WWE, Vince McMahon literally stepped inside the ring and wanted people to step up. And Jeff Hardy, wanted to step up, and he did. He won a couple of world championships, I think 2, to be exact. I could be wrong. And it just, think about the pot that Jeff Hardy had. Think about the pot that he had, as opposed to, let's just say Eddie Guerrero never passes away in 2005. He would have definitely won some more championships. Brock Lesnar, he's a winner. He's a championship holder. John Cena, Batista, Rey Mysterio, JBL, The Undertaker, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Randy Orton, Edge. There were so many main event stars that were literally, and I don't want to sound mean, that were better than Jeff Hardy. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it flat out. I thought they were way better than Jeff Hardy. And I felt like Jeff, deep down inside, he knew it. I felt like he knew it. Like, he tried every day to prove, and he did do a damn good job of, trading the perception of a WWE, or just like a wrestling fan in general, to be like, okay, this guy's going to get on some ladder. He's going to do some crazy stuff here. He's going to do some crazy stuff. Jeff Hardy is highly unpredictable, Definitely one of the huge reasons why Jeff Hardy is loved by the WWE Universe, and the fact that he did achieve so much freaking success as a tag team wrestler with his brother Matt. They had an amazing, iconic feud with the Dudley Boys and Edge and Christian. And, no one's just going to randomly forget that. And I'm not saying the fact that he was so successful as a tag team wrestler and as a tag team champions that it ultimately, kind of set him up to fail in his singles career. Because a lot of people, you see Jeff Hardy. And so, I see Jeff Hardy. And there's all the Hardy Boys, Matt and Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy as a singles wrestler. If you talk to anybody really about Jeff Hardy as a singles wrestler, do they really even remember? Do they even really care? A lot of people, I talked to a lot of wrestling fans, and when Jeff Hardy did come back to WWE after his little stint with AEW, with this whole little feud with Sheamus, and then this and that, kind of him exploiting how Jeff Hardy, has kind of fell off the wagon, and he was drinking, and he was driving his car, and then the cops take him away, and then Jeff Hardy's like, oh no, I'm innocent, and they fight in an Irish brawl, bar match, and it was good content. It was a decent storyline. I'm not even gonna say it was the best storyline. Definitely, I don't think that as well. But then Jeff Hardy, he's in the news. Oh, what's Jeff Hardy in the news for, guys? He has another DUI. So Jeff Hardy, definitely straightening up his life and getting into the right direction. Definitely something that he needed. I ultimately feel like his brother, Matt, is a huge impact on him. Definitely helps him throughout his withdrawal symptoms. Definitely helps him with his addiction. And addiction, it's hard. It's definitely hard 1,010%. Prescription drugs, if you're a wrestling guy or maybe if you're a sports guy. All the bumps that you take, all the tackles that you do, maybe you get slam dunked on, you fall, it's, people have their, vices that kind of help with different situations, different circumstances. Obviously, sometimes living an unhealthy lifestyle, I know this might seem a little, like ignorant, but hey, dude, honestly, sometimes that can be hard work too. Sometimes people live every day. People are quitting smoking. People are quitting alcohol. And they're, literally watching commercials on television Oh, come to Buffalo Wild Wings. You know, you can watch 6 TVs. Oh, not to mention we have beer. Beer, 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 beer. And it's extremely, insanely difficult. Obviously, you're not seeing any commercials on CBS when the football games are having a break. Advertising. Oh, go ahead and try some illegal substances, cocaine, methamphetamine, yada yada yada. However, So obviously there's a lot of different depictions there. Heading toward the entertainment industry, not trying to prolific or not trying to propel or not trying to perpetuate that having an having an unhealthy habit is normal. Isn't normal. Jeff Hardy, obviously, it's not easy dealing with an addiction. It's not. Not to try to give off too many information here, but I had a brother who struggled with substances, and it just wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. It's and obviously he's clean now, so that's good. Obviously, God bless. Thank God for that. But it's a lot of people kind of see things, especially in terms of addiction. They're like, just stop doing it. Come on, dude, just stop doing it. Just don't think about it. Do you have any idea any idea how compelling you get the urge, all of the urges, it's just Donnie, that's all you can literally think about. So, Jeff Hardy, obviously, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to literally just to get up and kind of just restart things. Obviously sometimes your path, sometimes, the scars that you've left in the past, sometimes they do come back to haunt you. And then, and sometimes it's hard. I was, listening to a podcast. I was listening to A New Beginning by Greg Laurie on Spotify. He's a pastor, basically said, when you're young, you make your choices. And when you get older, your choices eventually come up and make you. So sometimes, just goes to show that, just try to, it's hard, especially with young people, when you're 19 to like 24 years old, peer pressure, definitely, anxiety, depression. It's, it's definitely hard not to be like, oh, like it was, how hard was it to go up there and, pick up that beer and, drink it and stuff like that. Honestly, not hard at all. Honestly, it helped me keep balance, helped me stay, well-rounded, and, like I said, Jeff Hardy's definitely one of my favorite wrestlers, but ultimately I feel like, a lot of people kind of give addiction a bad, something that mainstream media doesn't want to talk about. And, for a wrestler that, maybe he could have been better than John Cena. Maybe he could have, like I said, but we will never, ever know. We will never, ever know. But like going out and saying a statement like that, I got to be honest, Jeff, it's a little... It is a little, little crazy there, but like I said, we will never ever, he'll never ever know. Jeff Hardy has, he's achieved a lot of greatness in TNA and WWE. Obviously, his journey is blemished by his personal demons and his struggles with alcohol and drugs. Right now, with his brother, he's currently the TNA Tag Team Champions. And, he's been reportedly saying that he wants another NXT WWE mashup to be featured and kind of have his last match on WWE. I definitely think that'd be pretty cool. Jeff Hardy in an interview stated, and I quote, "The way I was living my life in my 20s and my 30s, if I was living the life I'm living now, I would probably be bigger than John Cena today." Like I said, obviously, there's a lot of gray areas there. I feel like, I honestly disagree. Reasons Hardy, he went to drugs and alcohol. He was working on the road a lot. Led to, stress and less recovery time. Obviously jumping from hotel room to hotel room, traveling, it's, it's not that easy. Sleeping in a different hotel room every night, you can't really get a good night's rest. And, you step inside that WWE squared circle, you're expected to give the fans what they want. You're expected to give the fans the best show that you've ever put on in your whole entire life. All those aches and pains and doubts inside your mind have to go away. Some people do turn to prescription drugs or alcohol in that kind of, aspects. Wrestlers, like I said, experience a lot of nagging pain. Resorting to other methods of pain relief. Maybe, there's also some doctors who want to prescribe you, Oxycontin, who want to prescribe you, Norcos or, different kind of things. And you're like, you know what, I kind of don't want to try drugs that hard, so I'm going to try to kind of find my own way to do it. And then ipso facto, somewhere along the line, you kind of end up doing, different, you end up doing different ways that might not be, healthier. Obviously, opioids are, it's crazy, but it's not that type of podcast. So let's move on. Hardy, he had a problem to deal with. He was a problem to deal with inside Total Nonstop Action. He was suspended by both WWE and TNA. Obviously, WWE moved off him. Jeff signed in AEW in 2022. He was arrested for a DUI. Hardy spent many months away due to suspension and rehab. He's now in TNA with his brother, and it seems like he's in a way better place. He's a 6-time world champion, he's the 9th Grand Slam champion in WWE history, and he's a 22-time tag team champion with his brother Matt. So, once when Matt ultimately left WWE, I felt like it did take a huge toll on Jeff Hardy, and the fact that, sometimes you kind of have that rock, that person you can know that if you're dealing with something or you're stressed out about something, or if you just have a huge yearning, or if you, have these urges that you're like, okay, I gotta talk to somebody, you always have that safe place. And sometimes some people, they hold that safe place within a person, a relative, a family member, or, you go to AA meetings or NA meetings. People are literally there to support each other. You say, oh, for one of my college classes, I had to do a report on, I think it was alcoholism, I'm not too sure. And then, I went, and a lot of these guys were like, oh, you state your name, like, hey, I'm an alcoholic, sorry, but I'm 22 years sober, and everybody, claps, you have your little buttons, your chips, and you just find ways to support each other, which is definitely 1,010% super cool. 1,010%. Reaching out to somebody is the hardest thing to do at a time when pressure just seems like it's yearing down on you. Seems like, the unhealthy lifestyle that you have kind of assumed, seeming like this might be your only way to deal with things. Like I said, people deal with a lot of bullshit that sometimes people don't necessarily have to deal with. Maybe you've never had a death in the family. Maybe you've never had, a lot of heartbreak that others might have endured. And so that's why sometimes it might be a little ignorant and a little bit of like a bigotry statement to be like, oh, then just stop it. Just stop. So, obviously there's a lot of different factors that go inside, in terms of addiction. Obviously, Jeff Hardy, definitely love, respect him. One of my favorite wrestlers, maybe he could have been different. Would have been nice to see, in an alternate lifestyle. That would have been pretty cool. Well, guys, that's it for me today. I hope you guys had a fun time listening and watching the podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter /X, however you guys want to call it. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Make sure you guys check out for content and updates. If I have not made you a wrestling fan by now, we have all of the sports shows. Make sure you guys go ahead and check them out. That's it for Eric today. Hope you guys have a lovely, fun, and safe weekend. But most importantly, stay beautiful and love you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn ain't that